where ideas take shape, thought find depth, and every conversation explores the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest. He's a relationship coach, leadership guide, a pastor, and of course, an author and the author of the book Finding Connection in This Connected World. None other than Mr. Keith Spurgin.
Thanks, Daniel. Great to be with you.
Welcome, Mr. Keith. Apps like I say, and can you please introduce more about yourself? That I
Like you said, I'm a leadership coach and a relationship coach, and work with people all the time. Been in leading organizations for about 30 years, and so I love to help leaders lead better than ever. I love to help people find connection in a disconnected world, and that's why I wrote the book,
Unknown. Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Kids. Thank you. Looking for more and more and following this like this. So tell us the central paradox. Your book tackles the paradox of being hyper-connected yet deeply lonely. What is the critical qualitative difference between a digital connection we have abundance and the human connection we are striving for?
Yeah, so it's true. We're more connected than ever, technologically, digitally, than we've ever been in the history of the world. You know, you can drive down the road and talk to people on the other side of the world, and it's stuff that we would have thought of as science fiction 30 years ago. Our phones are more powerful than the computers that took people to the moon, and so we're holding in our
Yes,
hands.
true.
And we're connected with the entire world, really. I've spent a lot of time in Africa. Everybody's got a cell phone in Africa. Everybody's got a cell phone in Asia. Everybody's got a cell phone in North America. It's crazy.
Mhm.
And yet, all the surveys over and over again, surveys, research, all the studies just keep telling us over and over again that we have more isolation and loneliness than we've ever had as human beings since that's been being tracked. And so these two, it's a paradox. You know, we're more connected technologically, more disconnected relationally. And as a result, there's a whole lot more mental illness, a whole lot more emotional struggle that people are having. And there's a big difference between being connected technologically and being connected with a human. Um, you know, you can get likes on social media, and you can get all the endorphins that come with that, and we love that, and that's how these companies make money. And by the
Yes.
way, I'm not against technology. We're using it right now. I think it's very helpful, but it also has an underbelly and a dark side in that it tends to, as humans, it tricks our brains into thinking that we're connected because I've got this endorphin rush. You know, all these people liked my post and thought I was awesome. But the problem is they don't really know you. They know a curated version of you. And so even though our brains are believing that we're connected emotionally and psychologically and even sociologically, we realize, ah, I don't know if anybody really knows me, the real me. And that's the big difference between being connected digitally and being connected relationally.
Mm. Interesting. Mr. Keith. Let's talk about the identity marketplace. You titled the book Unknown. In a world curated for social media, has our obsession with crafting unknown perfect persona become a very barrier to the vulnerable, authentic connection we crave?
Yeah, I think it oftentimes does. Again, because we want to be fully known and fully loved as human beings.
Yes.
And what I mean by that, just to break that down a little further, we want to be known for who we really are, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes.
And the people who know us like that, we want to know that they still love us. And we have a need to be that for other people too. It's not a one-way street, which oftentimes digital relationships are a one-way street. There's not a back and forth, and that's a big part of what it means to be connected as humans is the back and forth. Ever since however you define creation, or as we've evolved as humans, however you want to say that, we have cloistered together in communities for protection, for interaction, for survival. That's who we are in our DNA. And so when we are disconnected, we are working against our design. Brene Brown, the famous professor and researcher and author, she says it like this. She says, we are hardwired for connection. And when we don't have it, there is suffering. And that
Mm-hmm.
is
True.
so true. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so, yeah, this persona, this curated image that's out there on social media, it actually keeps us from feeling truly known and truly real for who we really are.
Has the convenience of digital interactions unknowingly trained us to devalue the effort, friction, and scared slowness required for a true communion, Mr. Keith?
That's such a great question, Daniel. Um, I mean, the short answer is yes. We, we love, quick and speedy, and I want to order my food and it's here in 5 minutes, and I want to, you know, uh, get to work in 2 seconds or whatever it is. Um, and that's great, but relationships take time. I have a good friend
Mm-hmm.
who says it this way. She says, in relationships, slower is faster. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's really true. The more time we take, the more intentionality we have about building relationships, the more solid foundation we have to build something really beautiful on. That's true in romantic relationships. That's true in business relationships. That's true in friendships. If everything's quick and easy, then when the hard times come, when the difficulties come, when the disagreements come, we don't have the muscle to handle those situations because everything's been so easy and so quick. And so as a result, we have cancel culture, and we get offended so easily, and we read a text and we assume it means this, so I'll just ghost this person. I'm never responding to them again, because we haven't developed the muscle and the maturity to walk through difficult conversations and painful things that are just part of life. Uh, and that's the one of the values of relationships is that's our training ground. That's our laboratory for how to grow up and be a fully present human being.
Very well said, Mr. Keith. You need an applause for that. Very well said. In what specific ways have our devices and platforms replaced core human rituals that we are core or once the bedrock of connection, and what have we lost in that swap?
Well, a lot of it's what I just talked about, but I think also it's just when you post something, you get immediate feedback. In a relationship, that it doesn't always work that way. Um, Relationships, are every relationship you have in your life is with somebody else who's broken. So you're broken, I'm broken. We all have brokenness in our lives. We all know that. But because we're in relationships with broken people, that means we're going to have disagreements. We're going to miss each other at times. We're going to say the wrong things sometimes. We're going to hear things differently from how somebody meant to say something. And that takes work and effort and conversation and engagement Technology is not like that. It doesn't take anything. You just click a button or you look at results or whatever. It's everything is just immediate. And so it trains us that it's not worth it to have to work at something. It should just happen, and that's kind of the way people look at relationships. It's like, well, it should just happen, like in the movies. Every
Mhm.
romantic relationship is amazing, and
True.
every sexual encounter is off the chain, and it's all amazing and wonderful until it's
Hmm.
not. And when it's not, we yeah, we've just been trained by technology that, well, when it doesn't work, get rid of it. Everything's disposable. So then people become disposable and relationships become disposable. And I'll just try the next person, because maybe their technology is better than the last person.
The
So yeah.
technology is better. For sure, it's almost like it. For someone feeling disconnected but terrified of vulnerability, what is a small low stake experiment in authenticity they could try this week to step out of performance mode?
Yeah. Um, Great question. I think if I was talking to someone about this, I would say, hey, um, think about one person, just one person that you would like to have a better relationship with. It might be a friend, it might be a parent, it might be a spouse, it might be somebody at work, it might be somebody at school, on your team, whatever. Just think of one person that you would like to have a little bit better relationship with than you have right now. Now, once you have that person in your mind, then
Mhm.
imagine sitting down with them and having a conversation and sharing like one or two levels more vulnerably or more deeper, or however you want to say it, more transparently than you normally would. Like it could be as simple as, hey, I've just been feeling kind of lonely lately. That's a
Mhm.
real vulnerable thing to say. Nobody wants to be the lonely person, right? um,
Yes.
so just I just been feeling a little isolated. Maybe you could use that word instead of lonely. I've been feeling a little bit isolated lately. You ever feel that way?
Mm.
And
Yes.
see how they respond. So right now you're just imagining this, and in your mind you're going to imagine they're going to respond poorly. So you're going to go, I'm not going to do it. But you
Mhm.
don't know that. You don't know that until you try. And what I've discovered is when I do that, when I share a little bit more vulnerably, a little bit more transparently that I'm comfortable with. I'm not saying tell them your whole story the first time you talk to somebody. That's weird. But somebody that you want a little bit more relationship with, you share a little bit more vulnerably than you normally would. What I have found is 98% of the time in my relationships, people respond well. And they're like, really, tell me more. Or they're like, yeah, I do feel that way sometimes. What do you do about it? Or they ask questions, or they say, hey man, how can I pray for you? Or I don't know. They people respond amazingly well to that. Now, every once in a while, somebody responds poorly. And to me, that's a win, because now I know that relationship's not really going to go anywhere. And I'm not going to waste any more time or emotional energy trying to take it somewhere that it can't go, because they don't want to go there. But I'm telling you, 98% of the people in the world, when you share a little bit more vulnerably, like, hey, I just been feeling isolated lately, whatever it is, you use your own thing. Do you ever feel that way? They respond really well. And what that does is that draws us closer together. Our relationship just went to the next level because I opened up and shared vulnerably. You responded well. Now we're closer than we were before. And now the next time, let's see where it goes next time. And maybe I'll share something else because I can trust you more now. And trust is the foundation of relationship. So the only way to build trust is to experiment and try.
Experiment indeed. So, Mr. Keith, sociologist Ray Odenberg wrote of essential third places, just like cafes, pubs, and libraries for community. Where are our new inclusive third places today, and how do we prioritize time in them?
You know what? I don't know if they're new. I think the old ones work really well. I think coffee shops. I think coffee
True.
shops are great places, to connect with people. I think churches are great places to build relationship with people who are also there because they want to have community in their lives. I think, I'm part of I'm a cyclist, so I'm part of a cycling club, and I've built tons of relationships there on the commonality of bicycling. But that's where it starts. We all like bicycles, we like cycling, but as you keep going and you keep engaging, man, all of a sudden we're talking about life and we're talking about relationships and we're talking about our spouses and we're talking about our kids and we're talking about our finances and our sometimes we're talking about God. And I mean, it's just, you know, there's so many opportunities like that. I'm also part of the local chamber of commerce in my city. Man, I'm building so many relationships there. And just as business people and entrepreneurs, we're all trying to figure it out. And yeah, there's just so many places where you can build what we all really, really need, but you got to get out there. If you stay at home sitting behind your screen, you're not going to build the kind of depth that we all need in our lives to be healthy.
So, Mr. Keith, in the age of AI companions and chatbots, what is the irreplaceable sacred element of human to human connection that was we must fiercely protect and privilege?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned AI. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and this guy, Carey Nieuwhof, quoted this research that said that 72% of teenagers in America have AI companions, and
Mm-hmm.
most of them feel that they're uh, better companions than friends they would have at
Human.
school. And I'm not I'm not in that saying anything negative about teenagers. I'm just saying that is a picture of where we're at as a society and the lack of understanding of how desperately we need these human connections. So, to answer your question, um, I would say that one of the key pieces is having face to face interaction. Now, again, I'm not against technology. You and I are having a face-to-face interaction right now. I think it can happen, online. I do think there's something a little bit more tangible about being in the physical space together. There's something about that that's just a little bit different. I can see your body language better. You can see my body language better. I can read your facial expressions a little bit better. And what's really amazing is when we get into each other's spaces. And what I mean by that is in each other's workspaces or each other's homes or the places that we like to go. You know, I love to take people to restaurants that I really, really love. Like I'm a Texas barbecue snob. It's the greatest barbecue in the world. And I love when I have people come from out of the country and visit, and I take them to Hutchins Barbecue in McKinney, Texas, and blow their minds because they've never tasted anything like it. There's something about being in the same spaces together that just takes relationship to another level because you're sharing a part of you and experiencing a part of you together that you can't experience virtually. I hope that makes sense what I'm saying, but I think
Makes
it's
sense.
so powerful to have those shared experiences. That's really how relationships oftentimes are built is we have shared experiences, we tell the same stories. You know, when I get together with my college buddies, we still tell old stories from our college days. You know, it was decades ago, And there's something that just draws us together in a way that those relationships are like no other relationships in my life, because we have unique shared experiences. I think that's a huge part of relationship building.
So, Mr. Keith, as a relationship coach and leadership guy, as well as an author, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Well, my short term goal is to get my book launched on February 10th. And, I'm hoping that it impacts and helps tens of thousands of people and makes a difference in their lives. My other goal is my network, the Growth Resourcing Group. I'm looking at doubling it in size this year. And so I'm excited about the new relationships that are going to come out of that and all the growth that's going to come from that. So those are a couple of my goals coming up.
All the growth. Yes. Good luck to your goals, Mr. Keith. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Oh gosh, so many. Uh, a book I just love that some of your listeners might have heard of or not, by Ryan Holiday, called "Ego is the Enemy." One of my favorite books in the last 10 years, and just love it so much. There's another book that's been hugely impactful for me, called "Emotionally Healthy Spirituality" by Peter Scazzaro. Those are two books that I highly, highly recommend, and would love for your listeners to get a hold of.
Well, thank you for the recommended book, Mr. Keith. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be like you?
Like me in what way?
Want an author, a coach, and a leader.
Okay. Okay. Um, well, I think it's all about building relationships with the people that have something that you're wanting. I think a lot of times we we think, oh, I'm just going to go to school and I'm going to get this education and I'll be able to do this thing, and there's value in that for sure. But one of the biggest values of being in an educational environment are the connections that you make. And so, if you want to be a leadership coach, hang out with leaders and hang out with leadership coaches and people that know a lot about leadership. If you want to be a relationship coach, same thing. Hang out with people who do that and have that skill, because you're gonna learn from them. Just being around people who are already doing what you want to do is going to make a big, big difference. And same thing with writing books. This is actually my first book, Unknown: Finding Connection in a Disconnected World. This is about a 10-year journey, of reading as many books as I possibly could. I had an author tell me one time, if you think you're ready to write a book, read 5 more books before you write it. And I think that's really, really good
Mhm.
advice. You need to read a lot if you're going to be a good author, because
Mhm.
that's going to teach you how to write and how to think, like authors think. So that's some of my advice for people who want to do what I'm doing.
Thank you for that advice, Mr. Keith. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my Abstract Essay is already in 6th season, Abstract Poverty in 3rd season, and my Book 101 review in 3rd season as well, Comedy 101 in its 3rd season, Food 101 in 6th season, and Geography 101 Love Letters, Movie 101 Review, Music 101 are 5th season, Science 101, Sex 101 and 4th season, Trivia 101, Law 101, Mental Health 101, Motivation 101, Entrepreneurship 101, and of course, my Bible Verses 101 are my baby podcast. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Keith, to close on the title's promise, when we have the courage to be unknown with another person, what is the unexpected gift for a freedom we find on the other side of that risk?
Passion, honestly. There is no passion without risk. There's just not. Um, if you're not willing to risk, you're gonna kind of be stale and boring. When I ask people, describe the kind of relationships they want. They never use words like stagnant, same old, boring. They never use words like, they always use words like adventurous and exciting and growing and moving. And these are words of passion. That's what people want in a relationship. So risking, being vulnerable is what produces passion. And that's true in every relationship in our lives.
Definitely. So, Mr. Kidd, thank you again for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world through your book, Unknown. So, can you please invite the listeners to support your book, your advocacy, or whatever project that you're doing right now?
Yeah, my book is Unknown, Finding Connection in a Disconnected World, and you can find it at keithspurgin.net, KeithSpurgin.net. And some blogs I've written and more information about what I'm doing. You can connect with me there. I'd love to connect with you. And yeah, I hope you'll get the book because I really think it's going to help your relationships go to the next level. And thank you, Daniel, so much for having me on your show.
No worries about it, Mr. Keith. Yes, people love to support Mr. Keith Spurgin because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering unknowable lives. So, Mr. Keith, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Dan.
Welcome, people. See you soon. So, Mr. Keith, I'm inviting you to be part of